Okay, good morning, and you got a different host on here. Wayne has gone and left it all to me, so I'm going to enjoy this last half hour. My guest is Robbie Davis, Nash County Commissioner. Good morning, Robbie.
Good morning, Sandra. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, and I'm so glad to have you with us this morning. Primary topic this time is no telling when you have a Nash County Commissioner here what you might talk about because there's lots going on. But this morning our topic is going to be Sanderson Farms because all of you have been calling in. Our viewers have been saying, Robbie, it's died down. We don't hear anything right now. So that you on for you to respond to that. But let's start with how long has the Sanderson Farms been going on? Situation been going on?
Sandra, it started in July of 10, so I guess it's been going on about 19 months.
About 19 months.
That's correct.
That's about what it seems. Well, we're going to go ahead and throw the question out there because everybody wants to know this. Is it coming?
Well, Sandra, as you know, I'm the lead cheerleader on this project, have been since day one. And yes, this morning I would have to say it is definitely coming, in my opinion. We have 7 commissioners that make that final decision. All along, we've had 2 commissioners that are not in favor of the project, and that's understood and certainly respected. But in my opinion, it is definitely coming. Sanderson has made a lot of moves lately that reinforces that. Of course, it all hinges on 2 things. Number one, the environment and the situation with the company themselves. They are currently in an environment where they have reduced demands, and they're in an environment where they have extremely high commodity prices, being their feed prices and the items that are grown to go in that feed. When they went to Lenore County down at Kinston, they faced the same hurdles, and it was about a 14-month delay, and then as soon as things got better, they started back up. We would anticipate that here. Do not know, of course, exactly when that will be, hopefully later on this year. And then, of course, we have our pending lawsuits with the city of Wilson that have not totally been settled. And not saying that that would keep them from coming, but a public company would always like a clean path to invest that kind of money. And we're doing everything we can to bring those to a closure by any method possible, mediation, let it go through the courts if we have to. That takes an awful long time, and we'd like to do it another way. We have begged and pleaded with the city of Wilson for about the last 3 months to sit down with us, discuss their difficulties, and thus far that has not been favorable thus far, but we're still trying and hope we can resolve it by that method rather than wait through the courts. But irregardless, we need that particular company in Nash County. We need those jobs. We need that investment. And in my opinion, it is a totally great industry, great company that will not bring any harm whatsoever to Nash County.
So the lawsuit, let's ask one more question about that. The lawsuit is in the appeals phase now.
That's correct. We won the first 2 items involved in the lawsuit. And
well, that's kind of encouraging, isn't it?
Very encouraging, certainly so, and Wilson chose to appeal that. We would expect that to be heard sometime this year, not exactly when, but anytime you win your first round, it's a very encouraging thing. And the lawsuit is strictly on a zoning matter. There's just really no reason why we shouldn't be successful in that, but it takes time to do that.
Right, absolutely. Well, now, what would you say, Robbie, you know, there's been a lot of naysayers, and most of them live in the vicinity, well, they're either Wilson, City of Wilson, or Wilson residents or Nash County residents that live in the area. Would you say most of the naysayers are ones that live in the area?
Well, certainly in Nash County that would be true, Sandra, that their primarily residents live in that general part of the county. Not totally, but primarily. And in Wilson, I'm not sure who it is. I'm still of the opinion that it is a very small group when you look at the total population of the 2 counties. Somewhere less than 1,000 people, but they
Right.
are a very organized group of opponents. They are very vocal, and they've brought some good points forward. They continue to work hard at it, and that's the American way. I certainly don't have an issue with that. Do not have an issue with any of the people doing that, as long as they stick to the facts. We've got a few that have an issue with dealing with the facts as they are, but as long as we stick with the facts, opposition is always good.
Right.
It brings a better product at the end, regardless of what the issue might be.
Well, you know, whenever somebody gets something like this in their territory, close by, I got a cell phone tower put close to me lately, and all of us were saying, oh, you know, we're going to get cancer from this, blah, 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 blah. So, and we're not worried about the cell phone tower. I mean, we're fine with it. But, you know, anytime something comes in your area, and this is a little bit bigger than a cell phone tower, believe me, but it's, I guess it's a little frightening. It's the unknown. It's the unknown. They don't know, and they've tried to find out information, and I think most of the information has come back from your study here, has come back okay as far as the water. Now, is that not correct? Tell us about the study. You did a study.
Well, Sandra, we have through Gateway Partnership, done many studies.
Right.
We've studied environmental, we studied traffic, we've studied home values, and the list goes on and on and on. I think the important thing here is that we have an elected board that is elected to serve our county, and we just do not have board members that do not do their homework. I personally have studied this issue for 19 months. Fortunately, I was very familiar with the industry going into it. My past construction, I have done a lot of wastewater treatment plant work for the Purdue industry when they came to North Carolina. I have done a lot of spray field applications for that company as well as many municipalities. I understand the process. I understand wastewater treatment plant operations, and therefore it has helped me through this process. But I can assure our Nash County residents that we don't have a board member sitting on that board that would do anything whatsoever that we truly believe would harm Nash County. This industry will not harm Nash County in any way. Will there be some inconveniences? Yes, it will be some. We'll have increased traffic. I've said from day one, the only two issues I could turn up were increased traffic, which will be minimal, I think, and then the issue with the houses themselves that will be in what was a 7-county region, now to be an 8-county region. But you know, I have to look at it as an elected official, realizing that those increased 500 houses are going to come to those 8 counties, whether we have the processing plant and the hatchery plant or whether we do not.
Right.
So that can't be what stops the project for Nash County, because we're going to have those houses anyway. We're going to have those houses in the surrounding counties. In fact, we're getting them right now every day.
Well, yeah, aren't they going to, and you know, Kinston, and this is kind of changing the subject, but Kinston, I have family in Kinston, and they tell me they would love, Kinston would love to have another plant. And so aren't the chicken houses going to, you know, aren't we going to build chicken houses here anyway, the farmers, for the Kinston plant anyway, or another plant anyway, whether if we get it or not?
That's the point that everyone should understand. The second plant of Sanderson Farms in North Carolina is going to go somewhere close to that feed mill in Lenoir County.
Right.
But of course, that's not what keeps me pushing for this industry. It's the fact of what the benefit is on the processing plant and the hatchery, and the fact that we need to have that in Nash County. But on the other side, the true question is there any concern about harm to Nash County?
Environmentally.
Environmentally, supply of water, and the long list of things. And the answer is no.
No.
It is not. And of course, the people that are opposed to it certainly disagree with that. I fully respect that. But what we've really got to look at, and what we've done as our board, is look at the industry that we're dealing with. We're not dealing with what they call slaughter plants. It is a processing plant. We're not dealing with other companies that do the same thing. We're dealing with Sanderson Farms. That's all we're looking at. They are an extremely respected company in the industry. They do things the right way. They go beyond what they're required to do in all aspects. And everywhere they've been in the United States, with its 10 other locations, and we need to concentrate on Lenoir County and the Kinston plant, they are just loved by everyone involved.
Well, they're great community partners, they tell me, over there.
They indeed are. I just looked up a couple of days ago, because I got a United Way meeting tomorrow to see what they did in Lenoir County, and they participated to the tune of, and I don't think the company would mind me saying this, it's
I'm sure it's public knowledge.
It probably is, but $150,000. That
Wow.
would be a tremendous help to our United Way drive here.
Wow.
A tremendous help. And that's not the only thing. It goes through many items that they help in the community. They're just a well-based community partner, all the way through the schools. I've had a very lengthy discussion at one of my trips to Georgia with the school superintendent from that particular county, and his story is absolutely amazing on what they have done for that county in Georgia. And it was a smaller county, granted. The school system was about half the size of ours, but just the items that they have done, and the most important part is to put a paycheck in the homes of children that have never had a paycheck in their homes.
Absolutely.
And what it does to the whole mindset of the family. Our unemployment rate, as we all know, is not good in Nash, Edgecombe, and Wilson County. It seems to be of late in Nash to be growing from a perspective standpoint every day. We've lost quite a few jobs lately. But you know, we have just got to have that 1,100 jobs in this region.
We do. You know, now that the RBC thing came about, and then some retail stores are closing, you know, we feel like, and we had the mayor on, and we've had Alan Matthews on to discuss this, and the mall manager, and all those people have been on in the last 2 weeks. We are losing jobs, but it's not, you know, the end of the world, because malls do turn over. I mean, at the end of the year, the contracts are up, you know, new businesses come in. That's the story of malls. But anyway, we are losing jobs here with you know, with RBC changing over to PNC coming in and, you know, realizing that it's duplicate, you know, services. Then we are losing jobs, and it is a big ouch for our community. I have noticed in the last probably 3 to 4 weeks, people that really didn't comment before on Sanderson Farms, they're saying, bring it on. I mean, they're emotional now. They've changed their whole way of thinking. 1,100 jobs? Are you kidding me? I mean, this is some of the comments I'm getting now, because it's getting scary to them. So now we need the jobs. That's the consensus that I'm getting now. So this is exciting. Robbie, I want to talk about some of those jobs. So they are saying that they could create 1,100 jobs in our community. Is that correct?
Their model is 1,100 jobs for this particular size plant, Sandra. And the best thing about this particular company is those jobs are created in a 12-month period. It's not a lot of times we'll have an announcement of jobs, but it'll be in 3 years or in 5 years. And as we all know, a lot of times those happen with the industries we brought to Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson County. Sometimes they do not happen, and there is not the total build out that we anticipate. But Sanderson Farms will build out once they build that plant in a 12-month period. They have done it down in Lenoir County, and that is 1,400 jobs. They have got a different type plant there and supply a different type product there.
Well, they've got a feed mill there too.
Have a feed mill.
They've got a little bit.
That's
more.
correct, and it has a few employees, not that many. Yeah. But the plant in Kinston does a smaller bird. It is going to the grocery store industry to be purchased by individuals. The plant here would primarily be the larger bird, which supplies the restaurant industry and things of that nature.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, I learned something this morning.
Yeah,
Learned a lot this morning.
The point you said is important, but certainly I don't want us to think that we're desperate to, and that's why we want these jobs so bad. These jobs were good jobs when we were not desperate.
Oh yeah,
they were needed
exactly right.
when we weren't desperate.
They were.
But are they needed worse now? Yes, but that's not the kind of thing that drives an elected official's decision on something. Right. They've got to look at it much broader, which I hope that people understand. When you become an elected official, you've got to look at what is best for the entire county. We are elected by districts, that's true, and we should be most concerned with the district we are elected from. But at the end of the day, you've really got to make your decision on what's best for all the people in Nash County. I find myself many times having one of the districts that are split between rural and in Rocky Mount, our largest municipality in the county, of having a real tough choice to make. Fine example, and I promise not to say this, not talk about this much, is our senior high school, which is currently under construction, be opening up in the fall. Great facility. I was totally against that because I didn't think it was the right model for what we needed. And the expense involved in it, but yet most of my constituents were in the region that were for it. So sometimes you get in conflict with your own district when you look at the whole picture.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you've got to look at the entire county. And I think our board generally does that. The late Mr. Mayo was always accused of looking after his district only. But that's really not so. Claude did many things for the betterment of the whole county, and I was able to learn that from him in the 4 years or 5 years that I was able to serve with him.
Right.
And that's just an important part. You've got to look at the whole county in its entirety and the whole region in its entirety. And in this case, that's what I'm trying to do. Fortunately, for me, it's not located in my district, but I tell you, if it was, I'd have to still be in the same place. I have a lot of the opponents ask me, what would you do if it was across the street from your, I'm going to use the term they use, nice house in the Dorchester community.
Right.
Would I like it? Probably wouldn't like it. I would say I wouldn't like it, but I would live with it.
You would live with it?
I would live with it, and that would be my choice where I wanted to stay there or not, and certainly I would stay there. It's just where I would like, the part I like of Nash County. But I certainly could live with it. When you look at the whole betterment of the region, you've just got to take things like that and do what's right. And that's what we're trying to do, the ones that are for us, for the project, and as well as the ones that are against the project. I'm sure they have their reasons, and I certainly understand those as well.
Well, you're right. Unemployment has been high for a long time in our area. So it's not just the current conditions that are affecting this. And I have totally, Robbie, you know, at first I was a huge naysayer, but as days go on, I totally see now that we need this plant, and I do think now we do need this plant. So hopefully they will come. Hopefully, let's talk about a few more of the jobs that it's going to create too. There's going to be administrative. It's going to be, what are some of the different types of jobs that people might get?
Well, Sandra, there are about, and it's been a long time since I've reviewed these numbers, but somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 800 line jobs, or people that actually work in the plant, as well as the supervisors. There are a lot of administrative jobs, and there are a lot of supervisory jobs. There are a lot of maintenance type jobs. And so about 300 of the jobs would be non-line worker jobs, and it's an array of many things. The one thing that has impressed me about Sanderson Farms when I've been in the other areas, particularly down in Georgia, and met with the employees, I'd always ask where they came from to get where they are. Sanderson has a great record, and just about every person I would speak to came from the plant. They like to take their line workers and seek out those ones that can do other jobs and keep moving those up. And you know, it's just great that they look at it that way.
So you can advance in the
company. Certainly you can advance. They bring very few people into an area when they come. They bring just a handful, and I like the term they use, to bring their culture to the area. And that culture is a great culture, believe me, it is. But most of the time they're going to be promoting from within, you know, after the first initial startup period when they get going. And so you certainly can go there and you can move up. The type of employees, you know, I really this morning don't want to get into all the little details about what the opposition is, but I can just tell you the matter of bringing in non-Nash, Wilson, Edgecombe County workers just hasn't happened in 10 other places. I'm certain it won't happen here. Our people that are against it say our people are not going to do those jobs. I just certainly do not believe that. I just think if you give any, well, you can't say any, but if you give the majority of our citizens in Nash, Edgecombe, and Wilson County an opportunity for a job that pays a respectable salary, provides great benefits, they're going to choose to do that versus not doing anything or sitting on the porch and, as people use the term, wait for a check to come. You know, I'm not convinced that's what our people are going to do. I'm convinced it's not what our people are going to do. If at the end of 3 years I'm wrong, I owe our citizens a very large apology, and you will get that, and I will be terribly disappointed in our people, but I'm certain it's not going to happen.
Very good. And you know, we were talking about that the other day. A lady called in. I'm going to give you an opportunity to call in now. A couple of questions. We've got time for a couple of questions for Robbie. 407-1111. But we had a lady call in the other day, and somebody was making the comment that, you know, people are sitting on the porch waiting for a check, or they're drawing unemployment as long as they can, and as long as they can do that, they're not going to work. And the lady called in and she had a very good point. She said, there are a few that are going to do that, naturally. But as a whole, I do not believe, she said, our city, people as a whole are not going to do that. Most of them, most. Of course, there's going to be a few.
Sure.
But most of them are not.
Right.
So that's to your point.
And Sandra, I read a little something earlier this morning that hit home real close to what we're talking about, and it said basically this, that life doesn't have a remote control like a TV. You got to get up every morning and change it yourself. And that's basically what we're speaking of this morning. Well,
I think that's a good saying. Now, Robbie, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's died down. We're not hearing anything. So does that mean, so why is it quiet? They're just waiting for the corn prices now? It's just a waiting game now, or why the wait?
Oh, Sandra, there's no action been taken at the present time. We still, at each one of our commissioners' meetings, we have a public comment section like all public bodies do. We have speakers against it every month, and basically, that, you know, they're certainly allowed to speak and should be allowed to speak. It's pretty much the same comments, but it's quiet, I think, simply because there's no action been taken at the present time. It's tied up in the appeal process, and Sanderson has put it on hold because of their situation. I don't anticipate for it to stay that way. Or maybe we have a group of people that have come to realize how bad we need those jobs. I really don't know.
That's the comments.
And I hope that is the case.
Well, that's the comments I'm getting. You know, a lot of people are now, you know, just really, there was a lot of people that just didn't, you know, there's some that acted like, that don't affect me, so it don't matter to me. I've heard a lot of people say, it don't matter to me, but it should matter. It should matter to each and every one of us. And, you know, you've got to have an opinion either way, and I think most people that felt that way are now coming forth and saying, well, gosh, we really need this. We do need this. Maybe they were getting educated. Maybe they were listening to TV, radio, newspaper, and trying to get educated, some of those, you know, on what, you know, the facts about the plant and the studies. But I think they've come out now. A lot of people have come out now. We're hearing more. We need the plant. So how do you feel? 407-1111. I'd like to see how you feel about this. This morning we've got time for 2 questions. We'll take 2 questions or 2 comments. And you don't have to identify yourself. Just call in and say, I'm for it, I'm against it, and you can tell us why if you choose to do so.
Sandra, I think the best way a person in our area can educate themselves about Sanderson Farms is take a afternoon ride down to Kinston, ride by the plant, ride by the hatchery site, look at where it's at, look at the quality, and pay attention to the number of cars in the parking lot. I love to ride by Hospira, Consolidated Diesel, see all those in Honeywell, which is out near where I work, see all those cars sitting there. Look at the parking lot at the processing plant and the hatchery and all the cars that are sitting in the parking lot, which means people are employed and working. Talk to the people in Kinston. You mentioned that they want the second plant. I have a meeting every month down there with a 13-county area, and it just so happens that the chairman of the commissioners in Lenoir County is on that particular group, which is called the Eastern Region Board. He asks me every week or every month when I walk in the door, have you given up yet? And of course, why he wants to know have I given up is, or have we given up, they want that plant in Lenoir County, something terrible on the other end of the county.
Oh, yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you have a comment about the Sanderson Farms chicken plant?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
James, this is James Ricks. I haven't heard him say anything about what they're going to do about the watershed area and also the spray field areas. I haven't heard him comment on that.
Okay. Well, we're not going to have time to get into that this morning. We'll have Robbie back to perhaps talk about that.
Okay. Well, let me ask another question.
Okay.
We were talking about the job areas. We don't have that many people of the age range that's going to be working at the plant, living in this area. The average person coming to the that will be working there will have to travel at least 20 miles to get to the plant one way.
Can you respond to that one?
Sure. Good morning, Mr. Ricks. How are you?
Doing good.
Good to hear from you again. Mr. Ricks and I have spent some time together on this project. Gentleman that lives real close to the processing plant. And James, you're right. Where it's located in the southern part of Nash County, there will be some travel distance for the concentration of people that live in the 3-county area. But you know, a 20-mile commute, in my opinion, is not bad. And I certainly think the people in inner Rocky Mount, inner Wilson, inner Edgecombe County areas will provide that. And what I'm hoping to do is keep the employees in that 3-county region and not allow it to spread out but so far. But of course, a company can't commit to that, but we need the jobs in those areas and you know, not let it spread. But I'm afraid, you know, we'll have people from other areas coming in as well. And as far as the environmental part, Mr. Ricks, I know you and I just always disagreed on that. I'm of the opinion that the spray field, well, I'm on a very educated opinion that the spray field itself is a great benefit to those 700 acres. Those acres have some issues that need cleaning up. This operation will clean that up. The groundwater will get better from day one, and I think that's very important. And you know, our studies here, as well as the other 10 plants, or it's not 10 because all of them do not use spray field, there's only 5 of them that use a spray field application, have shown that they will improve the groundwater from the very month that they start, pretty much indefinitely by the process in which they use.
I saw an article in the Wilmington, I believe it was in the Williamson paper down there by Greenville, down there by the Kmart. They were having a smell, and they were complaining about the smell at the Kmart area down in there. I believe it's right out from Greenville, a little town out from Greenville. Have y'all taken any surveys of that in consideration?
Well, Mr. Ricks, I'm not really aware of what you're speaking of. Of course, there's no operation in the area you described like what we propose here. I'm not sure whether that was a swine operation or what it was, but we have certainly studied the smells as it relates to the spray operation from one of these plants. And in fact, I'm remembering right, I think you have actually visited one with me, and there were no smells, and we were there like in August.
Yes, but I think this was coming from the chicken houses, from the chicken waste from the chicken houses is where this is coming from.
Yeah, and I do understand there are some issues around with that, and that was my point about if there are going to be any issues, it will be primarily associated with the houses, which, you know, as a commissioner, I do not have any part in that, and I know they're coming anyway, but certainly we need to work on improving the regulations on them houses from a state level, and I'd be certainly to be tickled to work with whomever to try to get some of those things done, because as you know, we already have hundreds of houses in Nash County already associated with the other two companies that are currently located here.
Okay, we're going to have to go. I apologize. Our time is up.
Okay.
Thank you for calling, though.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, our time is up. We'll have you back at some point to give us another update, Robbie, if you don't mind.
Be glad to.
As things progress. Thank you for watching the morning show. Robbie Davis, our guest this morning. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good day.